Okay, hi Booktube. All right, so I'm Jenny, and I got Boomer here, sort of. We'll see if she stays. And I'm gonna go over what I read in April, or finished reading in April, or did not finish, or stuff. Okay, so I had started this in March, but I finished this in April. Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. Marillier. I said that like a million times before I started filming, so I would get it right. Marillier. Juliet Marillier. Okay. And what do I want to say about this? So it's about trauma. It's about not being able to talk because of trauma. And why does this hit me so hard in the heart? So first thing I want to say is that this book doesn't fit easily into a genre. So people who like light, fluffy romance may not like this book because it gets too traumatic and deep and stuff like that. However, people who like books that are deep and about trauma and stuff like that may not like this book because sometimes it's too fluffy and too sweet. So, and romancy. And so, but oh, Boomer's leaving. She wasn't going to stay for the whole thing. And so why is that good? Why is that good? Mostly women just read this book. I think I saw like one review by a man on all of BookTube, and then I couldn't find it when I tried to find it again. So, but there is some guy out there who read this book. I know that there is. He's somewhere. But it's mostly all women. And what it reminds me of, so this is from the year 2000, or 1999 when it was published, but what it reminds me of is K-dramas. K-drama films and series. So K-dramas, I don't know if you've ever watched any of it, but they do a thing where they mix genres. So things will be light and fluffy and sweet, and all of a sudden it's like horror. And then it goes back and forth, and it swings back and forth. And not like light, fluffy horror, like severe, like horror, and then back to light, fluffy, sweet. And like K-dramas are very interesting. And when I was going through cancer last year, I was in this time period where I was just watching a lot of K-dramas and really being fascinated by the genre bending, genre mixing that was going on. And yeah, so now that I don't really watch K-dramas anymore because now I just read, but like I like that in books when they do this same thing where they mix genres where yeah, I like that. I want to read more stuff like that. And I don't know, it just gets me excited. But again, like I really don't know how to prepare somebody for reading this because I feel like there's many reasons why someone wouldn't like it because it's not going to easily fit into what you think you're going to read. It's going to be slightly different from whatever your expectations are. Because the whole time I was reading this, I kept being surprised by like, oh, it's going there. Oh, now it's back to this. Oh, now this is like this. And I found that like exciting and great, but I could see where the average reader may say like this is like too much or something. Anyway, what else did I read? So I finished Adrian Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky. That was another one I practiced over and over and over again before I started filming. Tchaikovsky. Adrian Tchaikovsky. Children of Time. Okay. So yeah, and this was a chunker. This is 600 pages, but I just flew through this. I found this very easy to read. I mean, I guess most sci-fi is easy to read, but for a chunker, 600 pages, so I absolutely loved this. This was great. This was a really wonderful sci-fi. I didn't even realize that it's a series and that there's more books, which I'm really excited about. And what do I want to say about it? So what I really loved is that there's huge, vast changes in time going on in this book. I mean, time is in the title, but there's like vast, huge, like hundreds and thousands of years of time, and things changing over the course of those huge stretches of time. And it's like a, an exercise for your brain to like imagine these huge stretches of times and how everything changes on these planets across vast changes of time. And there's that, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but I don't want to say too much to spoil it. But the ideas in this book are just really good about humanity and xenophobia, like first contact and fear of the unknown and all that stuff, which has been done over and over again in sci-fi a billion times, but for whatever reason this is fresh and exciting, and those tropes are done again, but like in an exciting way, and it immediately grips you right from the start. Like right from the start I was gripped by the whole premise. Yeah, and then so I also read the Vinland Sagas for the Sagalong thing, which is just a small little piece of this chunky book. Um, yeah, the Saga of the Greenlanders and Eric the Red Saga, which are very short. Just I think it was only like maybe 100 pages, or less in here. And there was a weird, they kind of went together. So, these stories were about the Vikings, and their first voyages over to America and encountering Native Americans, and how that went well or did not go well, and the whole, xenophobia, fear of the unknown, and that whole thing. And there's some there's some correlations going on here, and I thought these actually like went very well together to read at the same time. It's like, why would a sci-fi book taking place, hundreds of thousand years in the future, and this taking a place, way, 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 way in the past? But it's all connected. It's all about humanity. And anyway, so that was fun. And then, Finnegans Wake. So I'm in the Finnegans Wake read along. And this is, so yes, reading this is hard, but the Discord that Roy Reads Anything has hosted with all the booktubers that are in it, and some other people have also joined. It's absolutely wonderful. And even though I still have absolutely no idea what's going on in this book, I don't know about any plot. I can barely discern that there's characters. Yeah, I don't know. But whatever, the Discord group is a lot of fun. And there's people in there of various levels of, some people are very into Joyce, and some people know nothing about Joyce. But it doesn't matter. We're all very nice. And the people who know more, I guess, or have read it before, have more understanding about it, they provide their input. And then the rest of us who are clueless, we glean some stuff from their input of them explaining what's going on. And then that kind of helps me figure out some things. It's like, in school where like the teachers pair up the kids that aren't doing so well with the kids who are doing much better. So I'm like one of the kids that aren't doing so well. So I'm in the group with like the smarter kids, and then I kind of learn a little bit from the kids who are A plus students, and I'm like the D or F, C, maybe C student. But yeah, and yeah, so it is hard reading this, but we're doing it at a very, very slow pace, and that's why it's really great. And basically, all I do is I underline stuff that I think is beautiful, because it's very beautiful. It's like beautiful poetry. And even if I don't understand what's happening, it is beautiful, and I underline stuff sometimes when I'm like, oh, that's a really beautiful combination of words. And I mean, I do glean stuff from it once in a while. I am picking up on it that Joyce is dirty. There's sexual innuendos and stuff like that going on, which the group has helped me to understand. So, I am picking up on the dirty innuendos going on every once in a while, or at least maybe some of it, probably not all of it. Some of it's probably going over my head. But yeah, so there's that. There's all kinds of fun to discover with Joyce. Yeah, and that's just going to keep going all the way through June. And then I went back to reading Fairfield Porter, Life and Art by Justin Spring. I'm halfway through it now, and I wanted to finish this for People April, but I'm not going to finish this. It's going to take, I'll finish it in May, basically. But yeah, I'm halfway through. And what is interesting that's going on with this book is that so Fairfield Porter was a painter, a poet, and an art critic. He was bisexual. This was like the 1930s up till whenever he passed away. In a time period where that was, nobody talked about that. But also, what I'm learning from this biography is I kind of don't like him anymore as a person. He was kind of a jerk. Yeah, I mean, he's a complicated person. He was a complicated person. So, but that's not ruining everything for me. And I don't know how much I want to say because I don't want to spoil it. But on the other hand, this book is out of print. So I kind of feel like a lot of people aren't even going to be able to buy this book to find out anything. So you may never even read it. So what's the point if I say spoilers? But I'm just going to say right now, I think I'm going to say a little bit of spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, skip this part. Yeah, so Fairfield Porter, he once like stalked a young girl, like 10 years his junior, and like assaulted her and broke 3 of her ribs. Yeah, there's a spoiler. And was basically obsessed with her, and it's like this whole very disturbing thing. And I kind of hate him because of that. Well, not kind of. Very much don't like him. And then there's a whole thing with him where he grew up in a rich family. He went to Harvard, and he's very, very self-conscious of the fact that he's like from a rich background and went to Harvard. And there's all this stuff about him wanting to like connect to the working class, and it's all very weird. And but what I want to say positive about this though is that I'm discovering other other people from this whole like time period, a group of artists and poets and stuff that I've become fascinated with, like James Schuler, is that how you say that? And who else? His wife, Ann Porter. I've become fascinated by her, and he treated her like garbage. But yeah, and see, this is why I need to write things down before I start filming. Who's the other person I'm fascinated with? Who is the other person? Ashbery. That's the other person. John Ashbery. Fairfield Porter was obsessed with Orozco, the Mexican artist. And then I watched a documentary about Jose Clemente Orozco, and I'll put a link to that because it's very good. And it was one of the artists that Fairfield Porter was fascinated by, and then I became fascinated by. And so I'm making connections to other artists and poets and other things. I think that's why this is good for me to read. And though I don't like Fairfield anymore, um, and my uncle died in 2019, and this was the last gift that he gave to me. So I really want to finish this book, and I wish he was alive so I could talk to him about it, because I'm guessing he had a lot of opinions about. I think he might have been fascinated by this time period and all the artists and the group from this time period. So I wish he was alive so I could discuss it with him, but he's not. So, but yeah. And then what happened is I gave up on Proust. I got very, very upset at Proust. He was being absolutely terrible to women. I don't understand. He's like, he's either a teenager or a young man in the second volume, but he's like, he can have sex with prostitutes, but he can get drunk on a train, but he's got to make his grandmother get up every morning and get him a glass of milk. And I he's so spoiled and horrible. Um and I couldn't take it anymore. And I stopped reading. 355 pages into it. And I said, I've had enough. I'm sick. And it just brought up a bunch of stuff I don't want to say. I was very upset and crying about how I couldn't finish reading this book, and I went to some booktubers and I tried to hash it out, and everybody was very nice, and and James at Clayton Curious Volumes was the funniest, and I'll put what he said. That made me laugh, because before that I was crying and crying my eyes out because I was DNFing this book, and that's a weird thing to do, but that's what happened. And then I laughed and laughed, and I don't know. And then I talked about it with Ruben, and he was very nice, and but he's still reading it, and I don't know. I don't know how to put into words what I want to say about this, because it's just Proust is very upsetting. And I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. I'm hoping that at some point in my life I will be able to go back to it, but I don't know. And I every time I think about it, I still keep kind of getting upset and feeling like I want to cry, and that's weird. Yes, so, but I'm gonna stay away from it for a while, and I think that's what those tears that start coming up in my eyes, that's something I should pay attention to. And yes, so we're broken up. We're taking a long extended break, me and Proust. And that's all I want to say. Okay, bye.